Hello students, today we are going to discuss one more concept from sexual reproduction in angiosperms. The concept is structure of pollen grain. The study of external morphology of mature pollen grain is called palynology. Shape of pollen grain. Pollen grains are generally spherical in shape, whereas the pollen grains of pines are wing-shaped. Size of pollen grain. Generally, the diameter of pollen grain is 25 to 50 micrometers. The smallest pollen grain is around 6 micrometers. Example, Myosotis species. Wind-borne pollen grains can be as large as about 90 to 100 micrometers. Structure. Pollen grain protoplast is uninucleate in the beginning, and at the time of liberation from anther, it becomes 2 to 3 celled. Let's see the diagram. So the young pollen grain, it consists only one nucleus, uninucleated. This nucleus undergoes mitosis division to form two nuclei, and they are developed into two cells. So that is one cell. This entire large portion, it is considered as a tube cell or maybe vegetative cell, and its nucleus is this red color. This one is the tube nucleus or vegetative nucleus, and this one is the generative cell and its nucleus. So at the time of liberation, the pollen grain consists two cells. One is vegetative cell or tube cell, generative cell. The covering of pollen grain is called sporoderm. Sporoderm has two layers. They are outer axine and inner intine. See in this picture. So the total outer covering of this pollen grain is called as sporoderm, and it has this outer wall, it is called as axine, and this inner layer, it is called as the intine. Axine. It is outer thick and tough sculptured layer. It is made up of sporopollenin, and let's see the diagram. So this outer surface, it is called as the outer layer is called as axine, and it is made up of a substance called as the sporopollenin. Let's see the what are the functions of this sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is one of the most resistant biological material. It helps the pollen grains to survive in unfavorable conditions like high temperature, strong acids, alkalines. The pollen grains are well preserved as fossils because of the presence of sporopollenin. So fossils are survive several years. So to preserve that many years of these pollen grains is due to presence of sporopollenin in their walls. Axanthe possesses proteins for enzymatic and compatibility reactions. Compatibility means suitable. So this compatibility term is used in the pollen and pistil interaction that we can discuss later in the concept. So when pollen is pollinated and shed onto the stigma, if it is suitable, that means compatible, then only it germinates on the stigma. because many flowers are producing pollen grains and they are carried by wind or maybe insect to the different plants. For example, hibiscus is producing pollen grains that is carried towards the rose flower. So these two are the different species. When the pollen grain is not compatible, not suitable, then stigma and pollen interaction does not succeed and pollen grain does not germinate. Axine is differentiated into outer ectexine and inner endexine. Let's see the flowchart of this differentiation of this axine. Axine, it is differentiated into outer ectexine and inner endexine. The outer ectexine again differentiates into outer tectum, middle baculate layer, inner foot layer. Tectum provides a characteristic design or sculpture over the surface of pollen grains like spines, tubercles, and reticulations, etc. So let's see the pictures of the various surfaces of the pollen grains. So in this pollen grain, the outer surface having spine-like structures. These spine-like structures are formed or produced by this tectum, outer layer of ectexine. It is the outer wall of the axine. And in second picture, this pollen grain surface having tubercles, that means tube-like structures are formed on the surface of the pollen grain. And in third picture, these reticulations are present on the surface of the pollen grain. All these different surfaces on the surface of the pollen grain is due to tectum. Tectum can help experts to identify the pollen grains and refer them to their families, genus or species. So here it is clear, due to the surface of this pollen grains, we can identify the families, genus or maybe species, and also we can say that different species pollen grains having different surface structures. The different structures, surface structures, is due to presence of tectum. At certain places, the axine is thin or absent. These areas are called germ pores if the pore is rounded, or that areas are called germinal furrows if the pore is elongated. We will see the diagrams in the later points. Pollen grains with 3 germ pores are called as the tricolpate. This tricolpate pollen grains are present in dicots. Let's see the picture. So this is the pollen grain of tricolpate in dicots. It has 3 pores, 1, 2 and 3 pores, and they are rounded pores. That's why 3 germ pores are present in this pollen grain. Pollen grains with 1 germ pore or maybe germinal furrow are called as the monocolpate. So this monocolpate condition we can found in monocots. Look at this picture. So it is the monocolpate pollen grain. Here we can see that in first statement we said the pores are elongated, then it is called as germinal furrows. So this is the germinal furrow. The pore is elongated, and whereas in first feature, the pores here and these three pores are rounded, germ pores these are, and here the pore is elongated, then it is called as the germinal furrow. Intine. It is a thin and smooth layer inner to the axine. Look at this. So this is the axine outer surface. Once recollect the previous points also. Just before this we discussed the axine leaves, it forms a thin or maybe absent at some areas. That areas are called as the germ pore or maybe germinal furrow based on the structure. If it is a rounded pore, it is germ pore. If it is elongated pore, germinal furrow. Now here this axine is at this region. Follow the cursor. At this region, this axine is absent. This region is called as the germ pore. So now in this pollen grain, total three areas are present. Three germ pores are present. That's why it is a tricolpate. So now here the point is intine. It is a thin present inside to the axine. That means below the axine. This is the axine. Below that, this layer is called as intine, and it is continuous, not like axine. Axine is absent in some areas, but intine is a continuous layer. There is no any thin or maybe absence areas of this intine. So intine is continuous layer, and its composition is cellulose and pectin, whereas axine is made up of sporopollenin. Intine gives rise to pollen tube at the time of pollen germination. So during germination on stigma, this intine region at germ pore region, the intines develop as a pollen tube. When the pollen grain is mature, it contains two cells. Already we are given in the previous slides. Pollen grain at the beginning, it has only one cell or maybe nucleus, and during liberation it become three celled, two to three celled. So here when the pollen grain is mature, it contains two cells. They are vegetative cell or tube cell and generative cell. See in this diagram. So same, we are explained the same picture in the previous slide also. So young pollen grain consists only one nucleus. It undergo mitosis and it form two nuclei, and they are developed into two cells. So one is the entire blue color portion is tube cell or vegetative cell, and this smaller, this one is the generative cell. So that's why 2 to 3 cell stage at the time of liberation. Vegetative cell. It is also known as a tube cell. So this entire blue region, it is a vegetative cell or tube cell. It consists a nucleus. It is bigger than the other cell. It has abundant food reserves for future utility. It has a large irregular shaped nucleus, large nucleus when compared to the generative cell. Now generative cell. So here it is in this diagram. This is the generative cell, and this entire, it is the vegetative cell, and it is vegetative nucleus or tube nucleus. So generative cell, when compared to the vegetative cell, it is smaller, and this generative cell floats in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell or tube cell. So this generative cell has dense cytoplasm and a small nucleus. During pollen germination, generative nucleus undergoes mitosis to form two male nuclei or two sperm nuclei or two male gametes. In over 60% of angiosperms or flowering plants, the pollen grains are shed at two cell stage, that is vegetative cell and generative cell stage. So over 60% of flowering plants, the pollen grains are fall on stigma at two cell stage. The two cells are vegetative and generative cell. In remaining 40% of flowering plants, the pollen grains are shed at three celled stage, that is vegetative cell and two male nuclei. Now let's see that. In previous slide, last point we discussed that during germination, generative nucleus undergo mitosis division to form two nuclei. The two nuclei are called as sperm nuclei or male nuclei or male gametes. So before shedding or liberation from anther itself, in this 40% of flowering plants, generative cell undergo division before liberation. Whereas in first point, in 60% of angiosperms, the generative cell undergo division after liberation or after shedding on stigma. It is possible to store pollen grains of a large number of species for years by storing them in liquid nitrogen at minus 196 degrees centigrade. This process is called as cryopreservation. These pollen grains, that means the pollen grains stored through cryopreservation, are used in crop breeding programs. Pollen viability. What does it mean? The period per which pollen grains retain the ability to germinate is called pollen viability. So the period, how much time the pollen grains are able to germinate. So this pollen viability is highly variable in different plant species. That means the variability of pollen grain is different in different types of species. The pollen viability is just 30 minutes in rice and wheat. And in some plants, the pollen viability is some months in the plants of Leguminosae family, the plants of Solanaceae family, and the plants of Rosaceae family. In these plants, the pollen is viable for few months. Whereas in rice and wheat, the pollen grains are viable. That means able to germinate within 30 minutes. After that, they cannot viable. The factors affecting pollen viability: relative humidity, temperature, UVB radiations, transport. The transport is nothing but the pollen grains are transferred from one flower to another flower. or anther to stigma of another flower of the same plant. This process we will call as the pollination. So transport here nothing but how the pollen grains are transferred from one plant to another by wind, by water, by insects, by animals. Pollen allergies. Pollen grains are produced in large number, especially in Anemophilus species. Anemophilus species is nothing but the plants which are pollinated by wind. So they produce large number of pollen grains because more pollen grains are wasted before reaching to the stigma. That's why they are producing more number of pollen grains. Some individuals develop allergy to pollen, producing bronchial afflictions and chronic respiratory disorders like asthma and bronchitis. The major contributor to pollen allergy is Parthenium or carrot grass. This plant entered in India as contaminant with imported wheat from other countries. The other common source of pollen allergy, that means other plant pollen grains which are causes this pollen allergy, that is Amaranthus, Chenopodium, Cynodon, Prosopis, Ricinus, Sorghum. From pollen grains of these plants also causes pollen allergy. Pollen grains as source of nutrients. Pollen grains are rich in nutrients. The nutrient composition in pollen grain is proteins 7 to 26%, fats 0.9 to 14.5%, carbohydrates 24 to 48%. Pollen grains are used as food supplement in the form of pollen tablets or syrups. Thank you. We can discuss one more concept in the next part.